And Corey Day, his struggles have been noted over the last couple of weeks. They were noted in his couple of races that he had last season. And I wasn't a big fan of his interview. I liked the way he finished his interview and the way he reacted online on X. If you didn't see the incident, pretty much what had happened right before they came into the S's, they came down from the hairpin into that little kink right before they get into the S's. Corey Day just came all the way up, came all the way to the left, came all the way to the very edge of the racetrack, and just flat out took out Connor Zilisch. Corey Day was trying to blame it on his car. He even said when Zilisch came across my nose, he was having a really bad interview. I forget who it was that actually interviewed him. I can't remember right now who interviewed him on pit road, but she kind of pointed him in the right direction. I felt like in the interview, like, hey, don't you want to like apologize or something? Like that's pretty much the vibe that she was giving him, I felt like. And by the end of the interview, I think he came around a little bit. And then right after that interview, he obviously hopped on X and really saw what everybody was saying. And I really liked the message that he had on X saying, yeah, I know I've screwed up the past couple of weekends. I'm going to work to get better. I have a lot of people to apologize to and this and that. So I really appreciate that. And maybe this is Corey Day turning the corner because he definitely is very skillful. If anybody watched my Car on the Hauler, my post-race show on my YouTube channel, Trackside Larry, last week, post-Atlanta, I talked a good amount about Corey Day. I even made a separate video talking about Corey Day and how he's just been in NASCAR so far because he made some big mistakes and wrecked some cars in Atlanta and didn't take any accountability in Atlanta for anything that he really did. And I'm glad that he's taken some accountability. He ended up getting a top 5, so he definitely has some speed. But I want to get the boys' thoughts on this, not just on the incident, but on Corey Day in general. I guess I'll start with Tyler on this one. Uh, how did you feel about that incident between Corey Day and Connor Zilisch? I thought it was one of the dumbest incidents ever. It was 120% Corey Day's fault. And then also, how do you feel about Corey Day in general?
It was definitely an unfortunate incident. Man, it was stupid as hell, but it was unfortunate because, like you said, he had just had all these run-ins at Atlanta. The dude's just getting into racing. The last thing he wants is to be known as that guy, right? I don't think at any point he's trying to wreck cars or anything else. It's just he's not being calm enough. He's not relaxing. He's not giving it time. He needs to be right around in the back of the pack, get used to things, get used to the way the car drives, all of that. He's just not really doing that. He's going head in and just I can race these cars and he's not what he thinks he is right now and it's not working out well for him.
Yeah, anybody that ended up watching my Car in the Hauler, I kind of talked about what you just talked about a little bit more in depth, Tyler, because I just really think that Corey Day is just mentally stuck in that dirt racer's mindset. And when you race dirt, whether it's sprint cars or late models or whatever, every single lap you're going 120% because the races are so short. You're probably not going to have to make any pit stops unless something is deathly wrong with your vehicle or a tire or something like that. You're going 120% every single lap. You're going as hard as every lap's a qualifying lap in dirt racing. And I remember when Kyle Larson first came into the sport, I don't think he was doing it to the extreme like Corey Day was, but I saw a lot of the same things that Larson did back then than what I'm seeing with now Corey Day. It's almost like a mirror image that I'm seeing. Maybe not as talented as Larson. Maybe he's doing a little bit more extreme or even worse stuff than Larson, but it's very comparable to what Larson did when he first came into the sport. And we still see Kyle Larson make some of those dirt racing mentality sort of mistakes. Like they call him hung money because he stepped on his dick. Like we've seen him do it. We've seen Larson do it. He's obviously not nearly as bad as he used to be when it came to those sort of errors. So I think Corey Day is just stuck in that dirt racer mindset. And I also look at the reason because I think a lot of people are also wondering why does he have such a long leash? Why is he able to do all this stuff? Well, a lot of people remembered when Jeff Gordon brought in this not very known driver named Jimmy Johnson. I think this is a very, very similar situation to that. But instead of Jeff Gordon, it's Kyle Larson. Instead of Jimmy Johnson, it's Corey Day. Corey Day is Kyle Larson's Jimmy Johnson. No matter how stupid that may sound right now, that is true. That's his prodigy. That's the guy he wants to be the owner of. But Corey, I know you're a pretty big fan of Corey Day, mainly because you are a big fan of Larson. Also, you guys share the same name. But I know you like Corey Day. But give me your opinion on Corey Day, on how everything has gone so far, and how did you overall feel about that incident with Connor Zilic at Coda?
Man, he's definitely had a rough couple of weeks. The incident at Coda is definitely his fault. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He messed up, and he almost didn't take credit for it at the end of the
Exactly.
race, but he got pushed into the right corner. Um, I just think everyone needs to remember he's 20 years old with what, a year of truck experience now, maybe, and that doesn't really
Only a
help you
couple
except
races,
for
really.
how to. Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, exactly. A couple of races of truck experience, which doesn't really help you too much besides how to wreck. And then, but 20 years old with the biggest expectations in the world on your shoulders. Like, we need to remember that. Like, yeah, he might have a longer leash than some. We don't really know that yet. But, like, walking into NASCAR with the best driver in the world supporting you and being his guy, like, just imagine the stress or like everything he's thinking about with knowing that. So I know I'm more lenient on him. I think you saw me react to the interview he was giving. I'm like, oh, you're digging yourself a hole you might not be able to come out of. And he got helped a lot at the end of it by I don't know her name,
Yeah, I
but
forget her name.
got pushed into the right corner and then doubled down on how he ended that interview on X. So like he he is going to go through some rough patches. It's just been very quick to dig a hole in the Xfinity series this year.
Yeah, and something that I think that's very true when it comes to NASCAR fans, they really hold a grudge over a driver, and I think we're all guilty of that with this guy named Austin Hill. Austin Hill, he does some bitching and whining, and he can be very hypocritical, but I think that's a lot of people. I'm just using Austin Hill as an example. We look past all the amazing things about Austin Hill because we hang on to the things that he does so poorly, so tightly, including myself. I'm not. I try to come around on Austin Hill mainly because I'm a big fan of Sheldon Creed. So I try to come around to Austin Hill, and I try my best, but it doesn't always work out. But NASCAR fans really hold grudges. Like, people hated Kyle Busch and still hate Kyle Busch mainly because he wrecked Dale Earnhardt Jr. at Richmond, what, almost 20 years ago now? Like 15 years ago that happened? And people still hate Kyle Busch's guts over that. And that's how NASCAR fans are. NASCAR fans are extremely loyal, whether it's through love or through hate. They're extremely, extremely loyal, whichever way you look at it. And I'm really hoping this is a turning point for Corey Day, because I don't think it's too late for him to change minds on people, especially since he is a Hendrick Motorsports driver and is essentially probably the one waiting in the wings as long as he does well enough. I think I personally think Raja should be put above Corey Day in on that totem pole, but I think Rick Hendrick looks at it a little bit different. I think if Corey Day has a very, very successful season this year, I think there is a good chance we see him in the number 48 car next year, and that's just my opinion. If we see him have a kick-ass year, maybe he can do that. So I think there is some time for Corey Day still to turn it around, and I'm hoping. I really liked. I loved. I think I shared it with both you guys. I really loved that X post he made because that showed some maturity. He took some accountability, and hopefully that's him turning the corner. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. How do you feel about Corey Day in general, how he's performed over the last couple of weeks and so far in his very short NASCAR career? And then, most importantly, how did you feel about that incident with Connor Zilic? Let me know.